Today on the Lienwood Files, we talk with Shawn Kaplan and why it's important to come to MortgageCon and invest in yourself. Tune in today so you can see what's going on. Welcome everybody to the Lienwood Files, a MortgageCon podcast. I have the distinct privilege of talking to Mr. Shawn Kaplan today. By the way, I'm your host, Joe Motowidlak, but enough about me. Let's talk to Mr. Kaplan. I like to call him Cap because he's pretty damn awesome. So, and he's coming back for a third time this year for MortgageCon. So, welcome, Shawn. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you having me here. I'm excited, man. You guys, I think it's probably the best event in the mortgage industry, if not top one or two for sure.
Well, thank you.
MortgageCon, and I would say that it's my family's favorite because they know that they get to come down to Orlando too. So I'd probably say that's what puts it at number one. You know, Vegas is cool, but not really for the family.
No, I mean, that's what we try to do. I think Kyle Draper put it best that, a lot of people go to these things for their why, and we're kind of like one of the only ones out there where you can bring your why with you, right? So
Yeah,
uh,
that's
that that's why we do it in a theme park, you know? I mean, something different, but it's interesting. So third year back cap. I'm excited to have you back. I think you always bring something new. We're very early on, and I know you like to keep it fresh. So like whatever you bring, I think everybody's going to be happy with it. I'm not going to ask you right now at the end of June what you're going to bring next February because things can change between now and then. But I do want to talk about your first experience at MortgageCon. So you came in 2025. It was Cindy and Alone's in the Temple of FHA.
yeah.
And to give you an idea of how cool Cap is and how even keeled and such a nice guy, he came and he thought he was speaking on a different day than we actually had him speaking on. And Cap just ran with the punches, made it good. But very, very happy to have him that year. What was your uh what was your feeling when you walked into that room for the first time? Did you have any idea what you were walking into?
No, I did not. You know, you have preconceived notions on what a mortgage real estate conference looks like. We've been to all been to plenty of them. You know, some are like, some extra nice drinks, and then the other ones are like you get popcorn and water. But like y'all's was completely different. So when you walked into yours, you were in an experience. So you were not in like a conference. You were in an experience, and it's very engaging, it keeps your attention, it's fun. The level of pros that you bring matches, the setting and the environment. So, yeah, it's hard to describe to people without experiencing it.
And then I think there's something that we say for what we bring is, you still originate, right? You still do loans and stuff like that as well. So we really want to make sure that we have boots on the ground originators coming in and talking to everybody because I think that's where a lot of people find the most value. I think when you came back in 2026, I feel like that your messaging changed a little bit. I think you definitely came with tactiles in 2026. What changed between 2025 and 2026 and what you wanted to bring to the audience?
That's a really great question. So I think like one of the things that drew me to you guys, and you guys asked me to come to be a part, was through social media. We get to keep up with each other. And a couple of years ago, I realized that, our social media doesn't need to be a creative process. It needs to be a system and a process, just like everything else in our mortgage business. Just like, my sales side of my personal production team, my operations side of my personal production team. I just got to be very, very clear on that. And so I went more tactile last year because if it's built in as a system and a process in what you're doing on a daily and a weekly basis, it doesn't become arduous. It just becomes another part of what you do to build a brand and reach other people and eventually have doors open and have contracts, come from your content, but it doesn't come
hmm
overnight.
And I think that's super important. One of our we're calling them interrogations this year, is we're actually focusing on what would be a business model that would look like if you didn't have a single referral, right? If you were getting it from social media, if you were getting them from Google reviews, things like that. So I think that when we present that to the audience, they're going to have three different points of view as far as what that looks like. And one of the great things about MortgageCon is I feel like it's not for just one mentality, one person. You kind of have a buffet that you can pick from and take away what you wanna implement into your business. So,
It's
you know,
but
yeah,
it's a great
right.
way.
That's the other thing is it's like the TikTok of mortgage conferences. If you don't like what's on stage, just wait 30 minutes and something else will be up there that you might relate to, you know? What are you, I mean, you kind of know what's happening. We're doing this before our press event, so it hasn't been fully revealed to the audience, but you kind of know what the event looks like. What are you most excited for, from not just the content perspective, but from the fun we're going to be having when we're out there in Orlando?
Um, well, let me just without, giving it all away, let me just say that I think like the theme that you've chose is similar to what we're all walking through right now. Things are scary. There's a lot of uncertainty in our lives right now, but it's really, man, isn't it about perspective? I mean, I don't mean to be dark, but if you were given a certain doctor's report today that you've got, 3 months to live, are you gonna really care about some of the things you're really caring about right now? Like,
Mhm.
we're always living in uncertain times. Imagine what our grandparents felt like in World War II. What about Vietnam era? What about when Kennedy got shot? Like we're not the only ones. We're not that special. Like, let's have fun with it. Let's get up and put our boots on. And so I think that's just a subject that more and more people like we need to hear in our industry because everyone wants the results, but they don't understand what you have to make sure that the engine is running appropriately on the front end, you know? And, we're in this delayed gratification, portion of the industry right now, which is you're not gonna get rewarded for some of the work you're doing right now. You're gonna get rewarded in a year and 2 and 3 from now. And,
Yeah.
when the ocean goes out, you're gonna tell who's, swimming naked, right? Uh, so, I hope to help your community just continue to prepare for that, not what we should have been doing, but, like, what we should be doing now and the next 90 days.
Mhm.
Uh, and so that's what I'll, try to help out with when we come down with you.
Sweet. I know MortgageCon isn't for everybody, right? I do think that I would like for it to be for everybody, but it definitely has some little quirks to it for the most part. We do a huge theme and stuff like that. But who do you think MortgageCon is for? Who do you know, from an audience perspective, who would you picture would be getting the most value out of by attending this event?
Okay, so I would actually tell you that if it was somebody that, has attended other events, what's great about yours is what's called contrast selling. They're going to go to other conferences. Let them go to other conferences because then they're going to come to yours and they're going to see it and they're going to say, holy camole, like that's incredible. Like the other two events were nothing like this, right? That's contrast selling. And so I think that look, somebody who has gone to other events, other coaching events at a high level, like appreciates people that do things at a high level, people that want to be tactical. Like I like to walk away with tactic. I'm not super smart, but I'll go and work hard. So like I like to hear other people's tactics so I can go repackage it and try it in my own way. Um, I would also say for people that are like, I don't know how to build my brand right now, Shawn. I get that one all the time. Like, how'd you build your brand? Well, first of all, you don't find your brand finds you. You just have to package it. And so by coming to your event, you're going to see all these other people that a lot of them have their own brand already. And you see what you like and you see what you don't like. And like, this is how it happens. So I would say that'd be the third person, is that struggling to build a brand and like wants to and knows the value of it, but doesn't know where to start. Um, because you're going to get something for all three of those people out of your event.
Mhm. So you mentioned, so you brought your family for the first time last year. What did, you said they had a great time, but what did they think about it? Had they ever been to a mortgage event with you before?
No, that was the first time that they actually, flew to another city and was able to hear me speak and, saw the quality of what you guys actually, you know what? My wife has a lot, and my daughter has a little bit of exposure to it, but my youngest doesn't. But, I remember specifically that when we were coming out on day 1, after you guys, took us out that night, they said, "Dad, we don't wanna go to any other mortgage conferencing, or we're only coming to this one." Uh, they were pretty blown away, especially with the nice, box that you had prepared for them, in the room and everything. You did everything, like, next level, and so that's why I tell people, your money's it's really hard right now, like, and people don't have the extra discretionary money. They're making a decision whether to put something like this on a credit card or not put it on the credit card, and what I think, like, I'd like to tell people is, yeah, the venue and everything is, like, next level. You guys blow it out, but also the content that you get is actually applicable, and you go back and it's useful, and it's things that'll
Mhm,
actually make you more money and help you more with more clients. And I just see this other stuff that people spend money on. If you're at that place that you're trying to make that decision on what do I spend my money on for the ROI, I would say it's this event,
mhm, mhm,
because I've been to hundreds, if not thousands of other ones. But I understand times are tough, but now's the time that you take a chance and you go to something like this. My very first mortgage event I ever went to in 2009, I had negative $14 in my bank account. And my top realtor, she told me, she said, "I want you to go to this event with me in Texas. It's a realtor lender event." She goes, "But," and I said, "Well, I don't have the money in the bank." And she goes, "Well, put it on a credit card." And I said, "I can't do that right now." She said, "If you don't go to this conference, you're not gonna be my lender anymore." And she was a big agent. Like, it was my first big agent I ever had. And she goes, "Here's what I'll tell you. If you go and you come back and you don't make your money back from some of the stuff you've learned there within 6 months, I'll go ahead and give you your money back for the trip." I
mhm,
said, "Okay, deal." And then that's when I started learning the value of going away and being with other professionals. That's an investment in your business. It's better than paying for a golf sponsorship on a golf course or a magazine ad. Nothing against those. I just don't do that. The best investment you can make in yourself is buying yourself a ticket to a high quality event like what you guys put on.
mhm, mhm. And I agree. I think because I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we did increase the price a little bit this year. What we're doing is uh cost money. These things do cost money, but what I'm telling people is that look, if you walk away with one thing from MortgageCon that allows you to close one extra loan next year, or you make one connection at MortgageCon that allows you to get an additional referral partner, or you have one tactic that's going to allow you to bring in one extra loan, it's already paid for itself, right? At that point, you have the ability to choose what you want to take away from it, and that's super important. But we don't skimp on anything, and I think that you saw that we focus on the experience because uh, this industry deserves it, is really what my mentality is, right? Like you said, it's been rough. It's rough now. It's been rough the past couple of years. And MortgageCon was born out of that roughness and trying to bring a little bit of light to this industry. Uh, and I hope that people see that.
No, you've accomplished that, my friend. I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you for having me this year, and I'm pumped. I'm gonna bring my best.
Absolutely. I know you will. I know you will. So I'm closing the podcast with one really fun question for everybody because we all know at this point the title of the event this year is Murder at Lienwood Manor. It's going to be a immersive murder mystery experience from beginning to end. And when I mean immersive, guys, uh, be prepared because ultimately you're not going to know what happens at any given time. But if you were a character in a murder mystery, would you be the killer, the detective, or the victim?
I would definitely probably be the detective for sure.
Okay.
I
Okay.
enjoy.
Why?
Well, first of all, I don't think I want to go around and tell people I want to kill someone. That would be my even though I do like those types of movies once in a while, and I don't mind being a bad guy in an acting. But first inclination would be the detective, just because I watch all the detective shows. My wife gets on my case about it. She does not like them. Um, she's like, "Why are you watching those, huh?" And, but I like, and then you just growing up, I was always into, Inspector Gadget, what was Clue or the game, that we used to play, the board game, I think it was Clue. So yeah, I'd say detective. I relate to it more as a little boy.
I think that's funny because we do when we decide on themes or whatever, we do play on nostalgia a lot for the most part. And I do think that last year we gave three different options for the themes and allowed the audience to vote, and obviously Murder Mystery won. But I think that as John and I were talking about what a theme would look like, we kind of went back to those like 90s sitcoms, and there was always one episode on those 90s sitcoms where they would be like in a murder mystery where they would go away for the weekend and it would be like a killer and stuff like that. And I think when we were kids, they're like, oh, how cool would that be? So that's what we're creating. It's literally going to be like one of those
Yeah,
90s sitcoms, right? So um
you guys
Cap,
gonna be awesome.
thank you. Thank you. So Cap, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can people find you everywhere, social media, stuff like that, if they wanted to check you out?
I would say my best is on my Instagram, and my link in my bio. Has everything. But yeah, hit me up on Instagram. It's the Shawn Kaplan. Somebody stole my name, Shawn Kaplan, so I had to go with the Shawn. But so yeah, that's probably the best place to find me, and I'm pretty responsive there.
Awesome. So, and listen, guys, if you want to see Kaplan in person, make sure that you buy your tickets to MortgageCon at mortgagecon2027.com. And you'll see him in Orlando, Florida, January 31st through February 3rd. So, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you soon.